Hey, quick Spine Show audience, interview for the podcast. Roll this Madison Sutton. Let's go over exactly what we're talking about today. Let me pull it up. Specifically for women, are you finding ways to stay healthy? Staying healthy, stressing you out. You know, we always have these problems bouncing over overall lives. Sometimes we find roadblocks. We can't do it ourselves. Madison Sutton has been there, and now she helps women find their unique roadmap to look and feel good again. Let's find out how Madison Sutton has helped so many people take care and control of their health and life. Ms. Madison, welcome, and how are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Tony. I am doing well. How are you?
Good. How's North Carolina weather today?
It's actually very good. It has been raining here nonstop for the past 2 weeks, so we probably needed it, but the sun is out, so that's great.
Good. So get started for 1-2. Before you became a coach, what was your profession? What were you doing? What was your life like back then, 1,000 years ago?
Yes, 1,000 years ago. It does actually feel like a lifetime ago, even though it wasn't all that long ago. I was in the corporate space for the majority of my career. I was in engineering, and then I was in the tech space. I worked for a small startup that was acquired by Salesforce.
Nice.
And moved out to San Francisco, did the tech thing for a while and really loved it. I was in a customer facing role. I was a solutions engineer. So doing a lot of like selling, a lot of traveling, a lot of presentations, and
but fun. Go, right? Okay.
Yeah. It was go. And it was fun for a little while, but I found myself really struggling to keep up.
And what did you start feeling that kind of was just off topic that felt like it didn't feel right to you? Like, is your health first? You couldn't sleep well. What was the first, I guess, signs for you?
So I sleep very well now, but insomnia has been one of my biggest issues. So for me, that is the first indicator that I am, heavily stressed is when sleep stops happening. So
like,
for me, that was first.
Something's off.
And really, I'm very sensitive in that way. So it doesn't take much being wrong for my sleep to be interrupted. But that was the first sign for me. I think the second thing was actually probably weight gain. I was eating very well. I was very educated in holistic health and wellness. That had just been a personal passion and hobby of mine. And I was still, I was like, why am I gaining weight? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's almost like especially when you're healthy, you're like, okay, know what I'm doing. I've done the same things over and over again. I'm not getting the same results. What's going on?
Yep. So that was a big indicator for me. And then also, I think the biggest thing and something that I let persist way too long was I guess it really affected my mood. It really impacted my mood. I would find that very small things would trigger me. One meeting, if I only had one meeting all day, I would still walk away with a bad attitude. And that was just kind of the last straw for me. I started not being able to really show up for my partner, and I was just unhappy all the time.
It's funny, relating to my patients, for almost like if they're in chronic pain, so I always ask them, I kind of go down that rabbit hole. Are you sleeping well? No. Sometimes you feel overstressed? Yes. Are you more sensitive to things around you, like you had mentioned? And I don't want to say, because I know them very well, you're not grouchy, but are you very sensitive to things? Sometimes you feel anxious, sometimes you feel depressed. Do you see some of your clients go through that process too?
Absolutely. I think when most women come to me, they're like beyond, needing support. I think it is sort of the last straw for them. A lot of them are super, super exhausted. And I would say pretty irritable and pretty aggravated. They're oftentimes very, very stressed out. So even the thought of like trying to improve their health feels like a battle because they're already just pushed to their limit. So I feel like they're in a fragile place.
It's almost like, do I want to do more work to get myself better, or is that wall? I use I guess example of that wall is too high for me to climb.
Yeah.
And then going into some of the questions too, what was your father's diagnosis change your career path? How did that go from okay where you were versus where you are obviously now doing very well?
Yeah. So I was having these signs just, independently from my father's
Yeah.
diagnosis or prior to my father's diagnosis. And, call it intuition. I was living in San Francisco. I just got this feeling. I was like, I need to move home. Like, I just need to do that. So I did that, ended up actually slowing down a little bit. And at the same time that I moved back, almost immediately after my father was diagnosed with mesothelioma,
Okay.
which is, a rare cancer, and it's pretty bad diagnosis. So I think I decided right then, I was like, I can't do this anymore. It just work was something that I had loved, and even though I was not feeling my best, I still had some passion and drive there. And I think as soon as he was diagnosed, that just went completely out the window.
30,
And
0. Yeah.
just absolutely
Yeah.
zero. And my new really goal was, all right, we've got to try and make sure dad is as healthy as possible. Went through the house, threw away every single thing that was toxic, and, completely restocked everything. He was not super open to those changes,
We're the worst. Yeah.
unfortunately.
We don't like
Yeah,
change.
yeah. Wasn't super open to it, and I do think that impacted, his ability to recover, which, he did not. So, but I that was really it for me. I think watching him go through that process and seeing the lack of support that he got. I mean, he got chemo, he got radiation, he had surgery, but
Yeah.
no mental health help. No, he did have, nutrition help, but it was, laughable.
Minor. Don't eat French fries every day. Got it.
Oh
Okay.
gosh,
Thanks.
yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just horrible. So it's hard when you see somebody that is 60 years old that has never really had to think about their health and probably has not taken care of their health as well as they should have. It is hard for that person in that moment where they think there is no other option but chemo and surgery to think, maybe I should change my diet. Maybe, you know, maybe I should listen to my daughter. Maybe I should go this holistic route, or at least pair it with what the doctor is suggesting. That mindset shift for some people is very, very difficult. And I hate that. I don't think that we should be so far removed from the fact that those things are the things that really matter.
And it's almost, did you get when you're talking to, for example, the doctor as your dad's advocate, you mentioned these health style, lifestyle changes. How's the doctor's response to that or feedback?
I remember us, when this first happened, sitting in the hospital and asking some diet questions. And I was trying to hold my tongue. Like, I already had so many,
You want
thoughts.
confirmation of, hey, help me out.
Right. Yeah. And so I was trying to be good and just kind of
Yeah.
sit there and be like, let them prove me wrong.
Mhm.
And there were some comments about diet, and they sort of said, some people think this diet is good for cancer. Some people think this diet, keto or whatever, is good for cancer. There's really nothing to prove that that's true. And with what you have, we think that, I think keto was an example that they used, and they said, we really don't think you should do that. Like, we really don't think you should drastically be changing your diet in that way, because it's just not proven to help.
Instead of the doctor saying, you know what, I really don't know, here's a referral to a nutritionist, maybe some therapy, whatever it is, they're going to say something like that to basically trivialize it so it doesn't make them look bad.
Yeah.
Good. Same page as me. It's amazing when doctors don't, and again, same thing as a chiropractor, same thing. You just got to say, I don't know. Let me find out for you and help you out.
Right. Well, and just that, the way that it was phrased almost discourages somebody from making those changes, when I don't think for most things, it is not going to harm you at all to eat better. It is not going to harm you. And so why not encourage that? Why not encourage a little bit of a healthier lifestyle and just saying, oh, there's just no need to try because it hasn't been proven.
Has to be only chemo. Nope, this is the PMC rep. No, you're just looking like, as a doctor, you go, this daughter's here helping her dad out. Let me help her out too, because you're trying to lead the witness, and he doesn't follow along. Forget him.
Yeah. I could say a lot of things about my.
Yes. Well, we've all gone through. I mean, again, my own experience too. I've had patients say, "Hey, look, you're under a lot of stress for one, too." And they're medical doctor, not even a psychologist or therapist. I'm going, you got to leave your family. You have to leave your job, keep the dog out. I'm like, you're doing things that are impractical, versus fix the stressful thing that's going on in their overall person's body. But that's my own little soapbox for my patients in my career. Not being alternative as you are to medicine. It's almost like, how do we treat things naturally, which may take time, lifestyle changes, mindset, but it's still a valid reason because it gets results.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Same page. We'll talk. Hope the audience, you agree. If not, oh well, sorry. Just facts of life. We're training to become a certified integrative health and wellness coach and functional diagnostic and nutrition practitioner. Why do you do so much schooling? Why did you feel that benefit to get that much education, even though you already know kind of your stuff beforehand?
Yeah. So the first one, I really became very interested in the holistic health space in my early 20s when somebody I was dating, they developed ulcerative colitis out of nowhere. So that was what sparked my interest. And so I just kind of wanted to continue to learn. I was in the corporate space. I wasn't like intending to switch careers, but something that I did when I was going through that stressful time, it was the last, few years that I was in, my corporate job. I was like, I need some joy. Like, I need to do something for me.
Good.
And something to sort of counterbalance that stress and some of the work that I really don't like. So that is when I decided to get my my IIN certification, my integrative nutrition certification. I didn't really think I was going to do anything with it at that time. I was like, I just love this stuff. And
it's your personal love and your personal need to stay healthy and everything else. Why not?
Yeah. I was like, this is great. This is exactly what I want to dive a little bit deeper into. So that was why I went that route.
Good.
Very soon into that, I decided, all right, I'm going to make this my career.
Okay.
And the timing of me leaving my corporate job and my dad passing were it was an interesting timing. I did not realize he was going to pass as soon as he did. He ended up passing 5 days after I left my corporate job. Yeah. So that, I had intended to leave and hit the ground running, like starting my business.
You had a schedule. You want, sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still had that like go, go, go mentality. Mm-hmm. And then when he passed, I didn't have the energy. Mm-hmm. So that's when I got my FDNP, because I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do during this time. I'm going to, kind of try and get clients, but I want to educate myself a little bit more on the actual functional side so I can run labs for clients. That's what the FDNP part does, is run labs, or allows me to interpret functional labs. And it wasn't something that I intended to do, but I'm so glad that I did, because it taught me so much about that stress connection with health. And like, I knew that, but coming out of my job, I was thinking I was going to focus so much more on gut health, and having that personal experience of my dad passing and going through grief and that stress, and then learning at the same time how much that impacts your stress and your hormones. And I was like seeing that happen real time in myself. That really helped me, or it caused me to switch my focus.
It's almost when you have I want to call it the science behind it, it makes it more valid what you want to help someone with. So you have the mindset, the science behind it too. You can actually say someone objectively, this is where your numbers are now. Let's get numbers better, so we know your body internally, physiologically is getting improving. So not only are you feeling better, but it's going to stay this way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I am way more into, like, I love like the woo-woo side of healing so much more, like the spiritual, mental, emotional. But you have to have the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to, especially if you are working with somebody that is super busy and does not necessarily think they need to change their diet or commit to the work.
Mm-hmm.
When you have those numbers, and I like to do like I'm not just going to do stress and hormones. Like we're looking at everything because I don't want to fix just one thing and then something else be broken and you start feeling bad in a few months after we work together. So we look at everything. We try to fix everything or support everything at the same time.
Good.
So that when we stop working together, and I've heard you say this with somebody else, I don't want reoccurring clients.
Ugh.
That's not what I want. I want to fix. I want somebody to learn. I want them to feel better. I want them to heal as much as possible from those symptoms and that sickness that they're having. And then I want them to feel like they have the knowledge to move forward with that as they age and as things change and continue to change in their body.
I call it almost making them their best doctor for themselves. So at that point, they, like you said, they know what they feel like when they're feeling good. I feel like, what am I doing differently? What's going on? And I like how you do a full panel of everything, because you do that. You sometimes just to rule things out, right?
Yeah.
Like so that your focus is, I'm gonna get you. Let's see your improvement soon, because now we've ruled everything else that could be, versus let's try this. I'm too impatient for that. Let's take it all at one time. Get it done. Like I said, busy people they want to get it taken care of and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. It's look at everything at one time so that we can rule out certain things. But it's also understanding that just because I have a certain symptom, like if you and I both have a symptom, you may have a symptom for a different reason than I have that symptom. But traditionally, a doctor might say, well, you have this symptom, so it must be your digestion, or it must be an allergy or something. And it could be neither of those things. So it's making sure that I am also not being biased and saying just because you're having some bloating, it has to be this one thing.
No, you're confirming it with the testing you're doing too.
Yeah.
And then why do you focus on women's health? Not us guys, I guess. I know we're tougher to deal with. We're pain in the butt sometimes, but
You know what? From a personality perspective, sometimes I've thought I actually would probably be a much better coach with men. But, I just felt that was the right thing for me. I can't really explain it, but that has been like the one thing that I have felt pretty strongly about. And I will say, I think women oftentimes, if you can help a woman understand how to take care of her health, she tends to push that to her family.
Good.
And really what I want is to be able to work with women at a younger age. And if you can work with a woman before her and her partner are trying to conceive, that is huge, because then they're both going to go into that process being intentional about their health, because it is important for both parties to be healthy when you're trying to conceive a baby. It's not just on the woman.
No.
That woman will consider her health more. She will be more interested in her health throughout her pregnancy. She will likely have an easier pregnancy, an easier birth. She will likely have better or less symptomatic postpartum. She will probably feed her child, healthier foods and a healthier lifestyle. And the fact that she went into, getting pregnant with that knowledge of how to care for her body, she doesn't now have to try to learn how to do that with a newborn baby. And too many moms they start worrying about, oh my gosh, I need to be more healthy. Like they start looking at what's in their children's food. And now they're like, oh my gosh, I want to get healthy. But they have like a toddler and a newborn baby, and it's difficult.
It's no time for themselves. I did talk with someone probably a few years ago, and they focused on women's health for pregnancy and beyond pregnancy. A lot of it is still, like you'd mentioned, adding to that, even the child's health coming out of the womb is going to be healthier physiologically, hormonally, everything, when the mom's health is actually healthy too.
Yeah.
So you're helping your baby grow and start their life at a healthier state.
Absolutely. And I have many friends that are trying to conceive right now, and just watching that process from my mid 20s to now being in my mid 30s, even in my mid 20s, I had a lot of friends that were having trouble conceiving or, having multiple miscarriages. And not to say that miscarriages are a new thing, but the rate of infertility is increasing. And, more often than not, my friends are struggling, or my loved ones, or, people I know are struggling with that. And it's really kind of scary.
Scary but fixable when you look at it more of a natural healing approach, holistic approach for one, I think. And how would you explain, I guess, holistic versus medical approach to a new client or someone that doesn't know what the difference might be?
Yeah. I think the big difference that I see in holistic, I think there's a few things. So there's preventative, and I think preventative is holistic, when you are proactive about your health and you are being cognizant of what you're putting in your body, what you're putting in your home, like you are essentially avoiding the need to see a medical doctor for the most part. Like what I am trying to teach and what preventative and holistic and functional medicine really is looking at is, how do we avoid the need for prescription medication? How do we avoid the chronic illness, or how do we reverse the chronic illness through natural means rather than a prescription medication that is really just turning off the symptoms but not actually fixing the problem?
It's amazing when you look at it that way. It may take more work just to change someone's mindset of that. But when looking at it, it's almost like, do I want to stay healthy or do I want to wait till I'm sick to get healthy? How much more? It just seems more stressful to keep going back and forth, back and forth. I want the boring life of just staying healthy.
Yeah.
It's not very entertaining, but it's something, I guess.
Yeah.
Look
I
forward
think
to
one of the big mindset shifts that we need to have, I mean, I've never been the most financially savvy person, but I know that I need to invest in my retirement. I know that I need to put money in savings, and I know I need to do it before I retire. Before I don't have income, I need to have that savings. It's the same thing with health. And I really view them as very, very similar things, but one is taught in school, one is pushed. You are an absolute idiot if you don't, invest in your future.
Impounding.
Yeah.
Not impounding. Compounding. I was testing you, Madison. Testing you.
Well, again, but I know that much, and people need to do the same thing with their health. You don't invest in your health after you're already sick. I mean, you can, and that's the beautiful thing about it is you can.
Yeah.
And you can reverse these things, but it's so much easier if you just avoid that or try to avoid it as much as possible.
And it's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be sometimes stressful in a good way. I had a patient today who's telling me he's starting to do he wants to lose some weight. He wants to do a 12-hour fast, and a 17-hour fast. I'm like, good for you. I go ask him, how do you feel? Like, grouchy, tired, angry. I'm like, well, good. That means your body's fighting your normal. Good for you.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. And going into your website, certain phrases you use in your website, which I love what you're talking about for one too, and really looking at each one, implementing improved women's health, for example. How would you describe the root cause over quick fixes? We had talked about a little bit right now, but just getting into that more in detail.
Yeah. Again, okay, so I'll even look at this from a more holistic standpoint.
Okay.
There's so many supplements out there today. And, maybe it's a probiotic or, some sort of, magic supplement. And most people are out there looking for the supplement. And while the supplement could actually be really beneficial, I think there are some great supplements out there. That is you searching for a quick fix. That is saying, I do not want to actually change anything, but I want to feel better. And
If it
Again,
works, though. If it works.
if it works,
No.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
maybe you really were just deficient in magnesium.
You guessed
But
right. Yeah.
yeah, you guessed right this time. Maybe
Yeah.
that was what you needed. But like looking at the root cause, it's us kind of diving in deeper and understanding where is there an imbalance in your body and what is causing that imbalance in your body and how do we fix it as naturally as possible. And guess what? That might include some supplements, but it will likely and more largely include your diet, stress reduction, the correct movement for you, things like that.
But it's putting in more of the work of even the blood work too. Where are we? It's almost, do you want to get healthy or just want a quick fix?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Second phrase, mind-body connection is everything. How would you describe that?
Again, I love the more woo-woo side of health and wellness. I think maybe a good example of mind-body connection is, and I see this a lot with women that I talk to. Well, and there's really a few different ways that you could look at this, but I think you cannot heal anything in the body really if mentally you are not ready to, or if you are not intentionally trying to. And a lot of women that I work with, especially with like maybe weight loss, or if somebody has had a chronic health issue that they've been dealing with for a long time, maybe they've tried a lot of different things to fix this. And they're still like, oh, well, maybe it's this, maybe I should try this. And the first thing that I think is like, what is this subconscious block that we're maybe dealing with? Like, what is actually mentally getting in the way? What are you telling yourself that is potentially stopping you from healing? And I also think mind-body connection relates to like the joy that you are putting into your body and how you are moving your body and loving your body. I think working out and going to the gym is great, but if you are doing it from a place of like hating your body,
I have to.
Yeah, I have to do this. Like check box, like supposedly this is good for me. I'm gonna do it. And you hate it. Like you're mentally actually fighting against that thing. So it is not going to have the desired outcome if you are maybe doing a much softer like movement, yoga, stretching, walking that you actually love.
It's like, it's perfectly, it's almost like that would be more stressful for someone biologically and physiologically if they go into workouts, they work out, now they're sore, now they're even more stressed. You're like, just stay home and go to bed. At that point, you're almost causing more stress to your overall body, physiologically, mentally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I am a big believer that and I had to do this when my dad got sick. I was going to like a HIIT class. I'd gone to the same gym. I loved it. I really enjoyed it for 4 or 5 years. And then something just started happening. And I was like, I can't, this doesn't feel good anymore. Like, this is not what I need. No. And they asked me why I was canceling. And I was like, I just need something softer right now.
Yeah.
And I just now, I'll do some more intense things, but it actually has taken me quite a long time to get back to a place where I feel like that's actually what's positive for my body. And I think that's okay.
When you canceled, did you say like, you guys just yell at me the whole time? You guys have no positive reinforcement?
Loud music, like yelling, telling me to lift heavier weights. Like, I don't need that right now.
Add more weight. Come on, stop being whatever. But that's it. I'd say my page, like, I go, when you start being active, I always ask them, what do you like to do? It's not always weights. It's not always going for a run, whatever it is, or a bike ride. What do you like to do? What makes your body feel good? And what I mean by that too, like you mentioned, what makes your mind feel good also?
Yes, I think that is so important. Yeah.
We all need movement. I don't want because rigor mortis, but I want to make sure doing the right things for them to feel better. So again, the goal is what? To make them want to do it again. Get that hope. I'm feeling better because I'm doing more of what I like to do. So same page as usual. All right. Next phrase, flow versus force. Did we just go over that? Flow versus
I
force.
feel like it's very similar to
Yeah,
like
very
kind of what
similar.
I was explaining. I believe in flow, and I think another thing that I've really observed with women, something I've been doing since April, is actually just interviewing different women in different corporate roles.
Good.
And most of them, or a lot of them, unfortunately, do have some sort of chronic health issue that they are dealing with. And I just really think so much of our illness today is being caused by lack of joy and lack of alignment in what we are doing in our day to day. I enjoy what I do. So it's okay if I am actually working harder and working more hours with my business than I was in my software role. I wasn't necessarily working myself into the ground in that role, but I didn't enjoy it. And I think that also really contributed to
Mhm.
my me becoming physically unwell. And I think a lot of us are trying to force roles, or try to do so much networking and travel and trying to be the best mom in the whole world and show up at all the PTA events or whatever it is, just
I hate
raising our
PTs.
hand for everything and things that don't feel good to us,
Yeah.
that really bring us nothing. And to me, that is force. That is not living life or flowing through life. Like, I really do think life is meant to be a lot more of a like flow than force
Mhm.
situation.
I like
It's
that. I like that.
supposed to feel good.
It's almost like we're trying to do things that socially norm says we're a better person if we do these things, but doesn't fulfill us inside. It's more, again, more stressful than it is actually something that we want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I am a person that is really goes I don't know if this is positive or negative, but I've always very much kind of been a challenger of like the status quo.
Good.
And I think it's probably why I care about my health and take care of my
Mhm.
health and take care of myself before others, because that's not like a standard, that's not a typical thing.
Yeah.
It's why I have been like so mindful in choosing my partner and deciding if I want to have kids and deciding where I want to live and what I want my life and day to day to look like. I'm not just, I mean, I live in the South. I am not just going to get married at, a younger age because that is what you're supposed to do. And I just see so many people doing that.
Ugh.
And along with our physical health, that really, I think, puts us in a bad place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to make those choices just because we are trying to keep up with the Joneses.
It's almost like we know what social norms are. Do you want to give into that? And some people may think that's easier, but it's almost like then your whole life is going to be set up based on that only.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's kind of hard to break away from that once you're in that bond the whole time.
Yeah. It's really hard to be happy if you choose a partner that doesn't want to live in the way that you actually want to live. Or if you kind of set the foundation of your life on things that don't really make you happy, that is hard to kind of dig yourself out of. And that's, I mean, that's really sad, and I hate that. um and that's why I just feel like it is so important to understand what actually being holistically well looks like at a young age, because it's not just diet, it's not just exercise,
Good.
it is how you live your life, it is every choice you make, it is your happiness and your relationships, it's
Mhm.
everything.
It's almost like, and when you think about going away from social norm and doing things differently, you're gonna get people that are going, there's no way you can do that. You're there for them, Madison, to help understand that is good for you. It is good. It's not good just because your parents, your uncle, aunts, your cousins, your niece, nephews, your siblings think it's wrong, doesn't mean it's wrong for you. So good for you to be their support.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think we need more people doing that.
Yes, I had a podcast a long time ago. Same thing. It's like almost like you're so stressed out trying to keep up with what you should be, what you're doing for everybody else versus just yourself first, and then you can live a more healthier life. So good
Yeah.
reinforcement. Last phrase too: your health should work for you. Kind of, we gone over this a little bit, but more in detail.
Yeah, so I'll use maybe more of like a diet example for this one.
Okay.
There's so many trendy diets out there. There's so much advice that is available to us. And while I love that the internet has given us the ability to sort of learn on our own, it's also given us so much noise. And a lot of people, and again, I see this so much with women, they're trying to do everything right in terms of their health and their wellness. And they're seeing, influencers on Instagram and TikTok who have these like 3-hour long morning rituals for health and wellness.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'm a big, like, I have my ritual for my morning routine, but I also work for myself. I also work from home. I also don't have small children. So what works for me doesn't work for my sister that has 2 children under the age of 3. So I think developing that filter, and, I encourage the learning. I encourage listening and learning about different diets and trying different things. But you have to have that filter also that allows you to say, that sounds interesting, but this part works for me and this part doesn't. I don't feel the need to completely change my diet to raw vegan or, the carnivore diet, because something in that doesn't feel right to me. But you know what? I probably should increase my veggie intake, and I probably should, maybe care about the quality of my meat a little bit more. So it's kind of, it's taking what you learn and what you hear and figuring out, how does this work for me? What feels good for me, and what will actually fit into my life and what won't.
It's almost like taking, where, like you said, exactly, when you have your lifestyle ready, how do you go one more step to a healthier life? Maybe try that out a little bit at that point, see if that works for you. If not, maybe go try something else. But try to do everything at one time. It's almost like, again, more stressful.
Absolutely. I posted something yesterday and I said, if you want to get healthier in the next 30 days, choose one of these things.
Yes.
Not all of them. I was like, this is the big takeaway. Choose one of these things. If you want to try to remove processed foods, amazing. Just focus on that. You don't need to do that and try to meditate for 20 minutes and try to go to the gym 5 times a week. That just, starting all of that makes me, overwhelmed. You just don't do that.
You could start it. You can do all those things. Problem, you're going to end it the next day. You're like, heck no. Yeah.
It's too hard. It's too hard and it's not enjoyable. And I mean, just anything that you start new, you kind of have to ease into it no matter what it is.
Give yourself that time in between. Yeah. It's a lot of it is when you, yes, you're going to be uncomfortable, but do you want to make yourself sick over trying something so much where you just go, bye-bye, I'm going back to chili cheese fries. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. Burn yourself out. And I mean, thinking about it from an exercise perspective, I kind of shared, I'm getting back on the more strenuous exercise train as well. And I am not doing that by doing intense workouts 7 days a week. I'm slowly adding them back in when it makes sense for me and rebuilding up that muscle that I know I need to build. And that's all right. That's okay. It is better to do that, or I'm going to hurt myself or burn myself out or, overexhaust myself.
Yeah, I did talk with one guy, and a lot of it is finding out recovery time for you. And some watches a lot do that too. It's almost like if I overdo it and I have another workout, then I might cause an injury. I might cause a health issue. How many guys that I know, at least, that have gone from not working out at all, join a HIIT class, a workout class, then they have a heart attack. They have other health issues too, or in my sense, they hurt their back, which is good job security for me, but for them, it's like I don't want that to happen to them. The January effect, whatever it's called. So yeah. And yours too.
You see that an increase in clients maybe in mid-January.
Yeah, I'm like, you should work out more, go heavier, more reps, more burpees for you.
Yeah.
And going into, when you start with a new client, what are your first steps with a consultation?
With a consultation, I think it's me just like hearing them out, understanding where they are.
Okay.
And pretty immediately, once I decide to start working with somebody, I do a really, really detailed health history assessment.
Good.
This is when we spend like an hour and a half or 2 hours
Mm,
together, just letting them. I mean, I have them fill out massive paperwork. I mean, there's a lot of questions I want to know. I want to understand all of the symptoms they're having and how those symptoms potentially tie to different body systems.
good.
I also get a really good understanding of their lifestyle. How are they eating? How are they living? What does their past stress look like? Medication. So it's really, really detailed. And I like to make sure that they feel heard because so many women, when they come to me, have not felt heard by their healthcare providers in the past. And I want them to know this is a safe space for them to really tell me how they feel and really tell me their concerns and know that I'm not going to push them off and say like, oh, that's normal. Like, it's fine that you feel like
Good.
crap. It's totally fine. You're 50. You should like that. That's
You're on the
horrible.
way
And so many
down. You're
people,
done.
yeah, you're
No,
on the way down.
no.
Like, be happy. No, I have so many people tell me that. I had a 30-year-old girl or woman, the other day, but honestly, you're 30, you're so young. And she thought, once you turn 30, you just gain weight and like there's
Good.
nothing you can do about it. And it's just absolutely not the case. So, yeah, that's kind of my process, getting a lot of information from them. And then I immediately, we kind of start a plan based off of that while we wait for labs to come in.
But why is the face-to-face or video consultation so important, you think? Why does it help? How does it help you? Besides the questionnaire stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think one, I want to understand if a client actually wants to get better.
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to know if they're actually invested in rebuilding their health because a lot of people are interested in quick fixes. And that's heartbreaking for me when I start working with a client
Hmm.
and they're not seeing the results that they want or expected to get because they're not willing to put in the effort. And like I hate that as a coach. So I want to
Like
make sure
wasted
that
my time, everything. Ugh, why?
yeah, it is. And honestly, I wish there was a way to kind of get in that person's mind and just shake them up and say, look, there was a reason you did this. Like, remember that reason. So I very much, I'm very closely aligned with my clients when we work together. I typically work for clients for about 5 months at a time. So
Hmm.
it's not like short, quick fix.
Hmm.
And so I want to make sure they're a good fit and that they're really invested in rebuilding their health.
That was my next question. Basically, and like you said, it's a time frame of 4 to 5 months, minimum four for 1, 2. That gives them the idea. Okay, this is my commitment. Do I have this kind of time, and obvious financial too, to make sure I can get this thing done? Versus let's see you for a couple weeks. Say you do, and then it almost like it drags it on for 1, 2. When you have a long-term sense of changing someone's physiology and their habits and their lifestyle and mindset, even spiritually too, you're giving them a chance to make it more concrete for the rest of their lives. Correct?
Absolutely. And I'm working with a client right now who's amazing. We just started working together and, during our first sort of like session where it was giving her initial protocol, there's only a few changes that we start out with.
Mhm.
Going back to
Yeah.
that, talking about exercise and not
Next
overdoing
step,
it,
yeah.
we're just going to change a few things. Like, let's make sure
Mhm.
that these feel good for you. Let's find some good alternatives to your normal diet potentially that fit into your life. And let's make sure you feel good about that. And then we'll move on to the next thing. And thankfully, she
Perfect.
was like, that's perfect. I only want like
Huh.
one or two things at a time because I know this is a long term solution. It's not me just trying to lose weight. And so I like giving them that time because if they're just coming in like once or twice for a chronic health
Mm.
issue, chances are like they're not going to see maybe the results they want in one session and then they might give up.
And you don't want to waste their time by giving them a false sense of, yeah, I can fix it right away. And your time, like I spent all this time with you, understanding your situation, an hour and a half, even more than that with paperwork. Why do I don't want to waste my time doing the same thing? It has to be a win-win for both.
Yeah, absolutely.
With yours too, you mentioned some ways to work with you. What is metabolic typing? What is that?
Yeah, so metabolic typing is the concept that genetically different people need different diets, or different people need different portions of protein, fat, and healthy carbs or fiber than others. So I am actually a slow oxidizer. I'm like pretty balanced, but I'm a slower oxidizer, which means I need a higher portion of fruits and vegetables. I still need that, meat and fat, but I need slightly higher portion of veggies. And it's all based on how quickly your body turns food into energy. So my body turns food into energy a little bit slower than somebody that is a fast oxidizer. So I need fuels that burn a little bit quicker. And those fruits and veggies burn a little bit quicker than a slow burning fuel like a fat or a protein. And, if somebody was, on the extreme for slow oxidizer, they may be somebody who does really, really well on a vegetarian or vegan diet. On the reverse of that, somebody who is on the extreme end of being a fast oxidizer, meaning they burn fuel extremely quick, they're almost on the carnivore side. They need proteins and fats. So I am a believer that, everybody needs something different for their diet. I love really where I am at with my diet because I like all of it. I like the fruits and veggies. I like, I eat meat. But it's really just looking at the portions of those things that are best for you.
And how does that go into someone's lifestyle, energy level throughout the day? How does that help them?
I actually think energy level is where it is seen the most. So many women, when they come to me, they're not eating any breakfast. And that really kills me. So that's kind of where I start. I'm like, all right, let's play around. Like, obviously, we'll decide what your metabolic type is. If they don't want to do that, we can kind of play around with different portions. But the quicker way to do it is figure out your metabolic type. And let's see how you feel when you eat 60% fruits and veggies and 40% fat and protein. How does that make you feel? And the goal is really to have like 3 meals per day and to not really be hungry, like to feel like breakfast gets you to lunch and you feel good and you have optimal energy. And then after lunch, getting you to dinner. And that's where a lot of people struggle, like that afternoon slump. Yeah. And I think it's because so many people are just eating like salads with no protein. At lunch, they're eating really quickly. They're eating while they're at their desk and not digesting properly. And we see that afternoon slump. But the goal is to kind of get you to all 3 meals with good energy.
It's almost like you want the energy level to stay consistent throughout the day, finding certain foods that they may like or can add into their habits to make those part of your, okay, I have this for breakfast, this for lunch, and then this for dinner. Or I have this for breakfast, lunch, and also I can do whatever I want for dinner. So it's almost like maintaining that, also up in their weight too, probably.
Yeah. And I like focusing on like the portion of your plate that should be fat and fiber and protein more than portioning out. Or, I mean, obviously portion within reason. Like some people do have issues with portion control, and that's something that should be taught. But I'm not big on counting calories and macros and things like that. I don't know. I feel like sometimes people really get caught up in that. So for me, it's about how can we make this a healthy plate?
It's amazing when you look at it that way. It's almost like just make it not keeping it simple for 1, 2 versus I got to measure this food out here. How many calories is that? Okay, is that? It's almost like you're over analyzing just to keep your energy level up. So makes sense.
Yeah. And I think when you start also looking at calories, mean, that's a whole nother discussion, but there's a
Mm.
lot of fitness influencers that are like all calories are the same, it's your macros and your micros and
Yeah.
you can eat Oreos because they're within your calorie, limit. And that actually kills me.
Wait a second. How do you say that with a straight face? So you don't know. Or it's almost like people go on the keto diet and they go, I can eat this over here because it's keto approved. I'm like, just use common sense. You can Google it if
Yeah.
you want to. I don't know. And going into single wellness session, how does that work in your program?
Mhm. So for those that, some people are a little bit hesitant.
Yeah.
They're not willing to commit, 5 months or whatever.
They're on the fence.
So yeah, some people sort of want more wellness guidance. So I feel like my long-term programs are for somebody that's really maybe struggled with their health, chronic health issues, has tried weight loss and sort of not gotten there. The single session is more for somebody that is interested in just like improving their health or, diving a little bit into wellness. And I still do those intake forms for them.
Good.
I still learn as much as possible as I can about that person. And off of that, it does help me craft a pretty good like diet and lifestyle suggestion for them. Obviously, I don't have the lab test, so we're not backing this up with those functional lab tests. But I can say, hey, based off of your lifestyle, your diet, the symptoms that you're experiencing, like, it looks like you could probably improve in this area of your diet. You're on this medication, maybe that's what's causing some of your headaches. Maybe we should add in a little bit more water, or maybe you're deficient in this vitamin because you're on that thing. So it helps me figure out some of those things, but just at a higher level.
It almost gives them more questions to ask themselves and even their medical doctor. Why am I on this medication? What's going on here? It almost gives them a way to look at their health differently, which is phenomenal. And obviously, a lot of those people can turn into clients because you go, hey, now what else can I do? What else should I be doing? They're almost like feeling, same thing in my office. They come and feel you out, see what you're all about. At that point, they go, okay, this person knows what they're doing. Okay, let me stick with them. But almost like having, not the previous self, but go like, I know my stuff. Here's what I normally do. Boom, 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 boom. It takes more time, but it gets them to almost either not commit, which is fine, or commit because now you know what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. And what is the Flow Wellness Program, your FLOW program?
That's more of my 5-month program.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call it, my Flow Wellness program.
Perfect. Good. And with your 5 months, what results have you seen that surprised you with your clients?
Yeah. I think maybe some of the most extreme is, really not seeing any more symptoms associated with autoimmune conditions.
Got it.
I really being able to get rid of those symptoms through lifestyle changes. That's probably the biggest thing that I see. I definitely see a lot of weight loss. I'm working with a few clients right now that were on Ozempic. Ozempic was actually not working for them. So they decided to stop taking Ozempic and start working with me, and being able to see that weight loss there after they've tried so many things is, I think, very powerful. So those are a lot of the physical things.
How about the mindset?
What was that? Mindset?
Well, mindset. Yeah, mindset. How does that?
Yeah. So that was what I was going to say. So one of my clients I worked with, I actually did not work with her for very long. We only had like a few sessions, but she was really struggling with stress, work-related stress specifically. And she ended up going into like a yoga teacher training program. Perfect. And finding a lot of joy with that. And that's now, she hasn't fully quit her job. She's like, I know I can't quit my job, but I want to find something that brings me joy, and sort of opened up that sort of like new opportunity and portal for her. So, and I really loved that.
You almost give them permission to actually look for something else versus just not stuck with what they're doing, but stuck with causing them more stress.
Yeah.
Give them
Yeah.
permission. Good. And last thing, as we kind of start ending the show, what was a good piece of knowledge that can help women watching or listening now to help their life improve? What would be a good piece of knowledge?
Yeah, I think a good piece of knowledge would actually be very related to that last client that I was talking about. I think one of the best things that women can do for themselves is create space and time for themselves in their own life.
Good.
And that doesn't have to look like something massive. It doesn't need to look like a big change to your everyday life, but what is something that you can do 1 hour a week that is just for you and is for nobody else? And I find that when you start opening that door and sort of walking down that path of like, how can I make time for myself? It ends up kind of becoming this I don't know, this like I got wave, I
Snowball.
guess is
That
a good way.
snowball.
Yeah,
Snowballs down.
snowball.
Yeah. Yes.
Snowball, and it really, hits other areas of their life.
You're giving them that different perception they may not be able to see in their own, I guess,
Yeah.
tunnel vision for at that point.
Yeah.
Good. Anything I missed you wanted to bring up?
I don't think so. No, I think, we talked about this a little bit, but if you are, in your 20s or 30s and you're thinking about, I know I want to get pregnant in the future, start focusing on your health now. Like, you don't need to just be asking yourself or planning to get off birth control. Like, there needs to be a whole like health rebuilding and health promoting plan in place for that, outside of just I'm going to get off birth control 3 months before I want to get pregnant.
It's almost, and you're helping someone guide them through that process of what to look for, and you're almost, if you want to call it, taking out all the just going back and forth, trial and error. You're avoiding all the trial and error. When someone will actually give up and just go, I'm just going back to what it is before, easier, versus working with, like, as yourself with a coach. So good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have all your information on the show notes. Wellness with Madison, your Instagram, also same thing, and your phone number, and also your LinkedIn. So anything else you want to add to the show?
No, that's it. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Quick smile for the thumbnail.